Welcome, everybody, to Pick and Roll, and happy Friday. This is the show powered by the Hammer Betting Network, where we go through NBA-related discussion, and of course, we give you the best picks. And it is a Friday. We're looking to close out the week with a bang, and we definitely have the opportunity to do that. 4 picks on the slate for tonight, as it is a pretty loaded slate in the NBA. We had some interesting games yesterday, even though there were only 2 games, mainly the Golden State Warriors and their trouble, which we will, of course, touch on. But we got to shout out Pips nice and early on this show here. If you follow him on Twitter, you get even more picks than just the ones you get on this show. And he had a really good spot yesterday on a same game parlay. Do you want to talk us through this one?
Yeah, this was I usually do parlays when I have a read on the game, and my read for this game was that Oklahoma City Thunder were just going to double team Jokic whenever he gets the ball, and that will open up a lot of space for other players. And yeah, I just bet Nikola Jokic over on assist because is he was passing the ball to the wide open players, and for most of the time, those players were Michael Porter Jr. and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. So we have their threes, and also Nikola Jokic under on points because he was double teamed. And Oklahoma City Thunder is one of the worst rebounding teams in the league, so I just added Nikola Jokic over on rebounds. And the crazy thing about these same game parlays, I started betting them in April last season, and so far I'm only mentioning the ones I shared. So I'm 13 out of 30 on them, so hitting them over 40%, and the average price is like plus 400, 500. So I take a moment to a bit earlier to calculate the winnings, and the ROI is 120%. I don't have them every day, but when I have a read on the game, I usually bet them, and they are. Of course, that's a variance. 30 bets is not a huge sample size, but I think this is like a very valuable spots for betting in the future.
Yeah, if you get a read on the game and you can find a couple of things or a few things in this case where they really line up together as part of the game script that you predict, you can make some money on that. But hey, you can follow Pips, like I said, on Twitter for more of the picks. But on this show, we want to get some winners as well. And you can catch this show on Twitter as well, the live stream that we do at 11:15 a.m. Eastern time every single weekday, Monday to Friday. You can catch it on the Board NBA on Twitter. Make sure you're following there. While you're on Twitter, you can follow Pips on Twitter at PipsNBA for those picks. You can also follow me for basketball-related discussion and topics. You can also catch this live stream on YouTube and on Twitch live or after the show. Make sure you like those. Like it on YouTube, subscribe there, and follow us on Twitch to stay updated when we go live. If you can't catch the show live, as always, all of those platforms, you can rewatch it after the fact. We also upload this to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And like I said, with the picks we have for this show, and we'll kind of add into discussion there, I do want to talk about the Golden State Warriors. So we'll recap yesterday's picks. The Golden State Warriors, we'll talk about the winner first. We go 1-1. Golden State looked in control of this game. It was actually weird. It looked like we were going to lose on both sides of the SGP, and Golden State were going to just run away with it. But then Orlando come back and beat the Warriors, and we pretty easily win on the Curry points. He was struggling early, ends was 39, and Banchero, I didn't quite get his last number, but he comfortably went over. I think he was over in the third quarter. So the SGP hits. So that's great to see. I want to talk about the Warriors again because they have now lost 4 games in a row. And we spoke about them earlier in the week. You said you weren't that worried about them. Losing to the Magic, has your opinion changed?
Yeah, it changed a bit because, as we already talked about, Curry is playing great. He's putting great numbers, and they still end up losing. And most of it
You
is,
allow 130 to the Magic. You allowed 130 points to the Magic.
yeah, players like Jalen Suggs scoring almost 30 points, and that's
Yeah.
crazy. His line was 11 and a half, and he scored almost 30 points. That's, yeah, but I will just say, like, they started great, and yeah, I was thinking, okay, this could be a blowout, but it's Golden State Warriors. And then the bench unit came in, and Orlando was just catching up. And then Curry gets back and makes another great run. And then again, by the end of the third quarter, Curry goes out, and they again go on a deal. Main thing is their bench is just atrocious. I mean, Wiseman, I don't know if you see the numbers, but Curry and Wiseman together on the floor, they are in their net
Can't
rating
be
is
good.
8. Wiseman sits, Curry net rating is plus 20. And when Curry sits and Van Wiseman is playing, their net rating is minus 25. That's just unbelievable. And there
That
are
is
so
unbelievable.
many things in this game when Curry actually get mad a couple of times because Wiseman was doing just nonsense. He was posting up while Curry had the mismatch and crowding the drives, and yeah, he's just playing terrible. Jordan Poole didn't have a great game. Moses Moody also didn't have a great game. Players, Golden State bench scored like 5 out of 20, and Orlando Magic bench scored 40 points on them. So yeah, currently the bench is problem, and yeah, Curry needs to play 40 minutes a game so they can win. And the thing is, when they were up 15, they allowed Magic to come back through mistakes like rushing shots, losing the ball, not running back in transition, and yeah, it's a real struggle, and this could continue for
Mhm.
some time.
Yeah, the Warriors going into the season. If you follow my content on YouTube, Amateur Sports is my channel. I have a bunch of channels. The main one is that. I wasn't high on the Warriors this season, and I thought the championship, as impressive as it was, kind of overrated how good this team was going to be this season. We are very early, and things can change, but we are certainly starting to see signs of that. The other play, and we'll move this along respectfully, because we do acknowledge the losses. Other play is the SVP on Denver. Jokic easy goes over his assists, gets a triple double. Michael Porter Jr. finishes on 11 points. We had the over 14 and a half. Ball just didn't come to him quite enough. We don't need to dive too far into that one because we do have 4 picks and we want to get to all 4 of them and go in depth on them today. So let's get started. And the first game I want to talk about, I love this spot. In fact, I love this spot even before Pips brought it up to me. I already had this one. The Brooklyn Nets visiting the Washington Wizards. I also, in this one, just like within a second of Kyrie Irving news that he was suspended, I went to go bet the Wizards, so good movement there. Best way to bet on games, guys. Just get updates when guys are going to be out of a game and go bet the spread or money line on the other side, and you'll see a lot of success. But you like the player prop here on Bradley Beal. Let's hear why.
So we are betting Bradley Beal over 21.5 points, which is minus 125 at Bet MGM. And the reason why is he started playing better lately. He's shooting more, and now he gets the one of the best possible matchups in Brooklyn Nets. So the last 2 games, he scored 20 and 21, but he shot 18 and 17 field goal attempts. And in the game where he scored 20 points, so only one field goal under this line, he was covered by Tybull for like 75% of the game. And yeah, just like we said with Lavine, Brooklyn Nets doesn't have anyone near that
Yeah.
quality on the defensive side. And yeah, I just think Bradley Beal, if he continues with high usage, he should be easily go over this line. And I don't know Brooklyn Nets how they are gonna play now without Kyrie. And this is projected to be a close game. I think the spread is 33 points, and this is a good spot for Wizards to come up with a win, and they need a great performance from Bradley Beal.
Yeah, I think similar handicap to what we got from Zach LaVine. Nobody's able to stop him. Bradley Beal loves to drive, get to the rim. Nobody's able to stop him in that area. And one interesting thing I'll bring up about this handicap, because I said I did bet it as well. Just some stats that are interesting here. Bradley Beal has seen the second highest. Now, granted, this was 2 days ago, so things have changed, but Bradley Beal has seen the second highest decrease in his usage from this season compared to last season. Now that should be a worrying, maybe could be a worrying sign, but my suggestion on this one is that this needs to change. And when Bradley Beal starts getting the ball more often for this Wizards team, he's going to start going over these numbers that are sitting really low for a guy who averaged 30 points per game a couple of years ago. So again, I like the spot here. So we'll move into the second pick that we have now, and we're going against my Raptors again here, but I can understand why. I'll briefly touch on it first. You want Luka Doncic over 8.5 assists, minus 130 at DraftKings. Luka Doncic has scored 30-plus points in every single game. I believe he would be the first player since Wilt Chamberlain to score 30-plus in either it's 7 or 8 straight games. It's 8 straight games to start a season. Nick Nurse, Raptors head coach, does not want Luka Doncic to beat him and will double him to ensure that Luka Doncic doesn't beat him, but he might let other guys beat him, and Luka Doncic is going to be passing the ball. Am I on the right track with the way I'm describing this pick?
Yeah, for sure. I knew you will understand this pick because as a Raptors fan, it's Nick Nurse, and I think his main goal will be to stop Luka Doncic. I don't think he will manage to get him under 30 points because the league is soft now and players get some easy calls, soft calls, and I think
Yeah.
Luka could end up with 15 free throws.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think this will be the most difficult game of the season for him. He will get guarded by OG Anunoby, who is for me the best wing defender in the entire
I
NBA.
can't wait to watch that
Yeah,
matchup, by the way.
yeah,
Oh,
it
my
will be
goodness.
amazing. And then like Siakam, Barnes, Achua as helping guys, double teaming guys, long athletic guys, and I just don't know if Fred VanVleet will play. But if he doesn't, that's even better because we'll have that rookie starting at 5, and he's as for now as I've seen, he's a great rim protection, and that will even help this bet to win because he'll be great help on drives. And that's like over helping on the nail on the drives, opening up the corners. And Luka is one of the best passers of all time, and he will hit the players, and it's just up to the players to make those shots.
Yeah,
And
if you like
I would love to watch Christian Wood playing pick and roll with Luka Doncic being double teamed versus this smaller Toronto Raptors unit.
Yeah, so the rookie you talked about, Christian Koloko, 33rd pick in the previous draft, looking like a really good pick at 33, good rim protector. One issue, he fouls way too much, so I think Luka could be going to the line a bunch tonight if Fred is not playing and Koloko does have to start. But yeah, they're going to throw doubles. They might throw triples, and, they're going to live and die with other guys hitting open threes in the corner, as they usually do, up to the guys to hit it, but Doncic's going to be passing the ball. I mean, he could still go for 30 plus and also have this assist mark. It's Luka Doncic. He's a phenomenal player. We'll acknowledge, sorry, just one error. Pick 2 of 4 here. I've had 2 of 2, fixed it, 2 of 4. But now we move into the third pick. And this is another very interesting game here. I actually want to discuss maybe a little bit briefly here on the teams. The Trailblazers are visiting the Suns. Trailblazers, second in the West. Suns, first in the West. Didn't think we'd have either of those things, but specifically, quickly, like 1 minute on the Trailblazers. What has impressed you about that team this season, going 5-2 to start the season when they were looked at as a play-in team earlier?
I mean, they did have. I mean, their addition of Jeremy Grant is huge for them. Josh Hart also, and then you have guys like Winslow. Like that's 3 amazing wing defenders, and that helps them a ton because over the last couple of seasons, the main issue with Portland was always defense on defensive side of the floor, and now they are above average defense. And having Damian Lillard with above average defense is like a certain playoff spot. And that's the thing. Josh Hart is playing amazing both sides. Jeremy Grant is not playing like he played last the season with Pistons, knocking out
Yeah.
shots. He's he's just picking up better spots, not forcing anything, and playing with Damian Lillard. Double teams coming to him. He just have open shots. He's he was able to hit them. Anthony Simons is a great shooting player. He can run things when Damian Lillard is on the bench. My main issue is their backcourt defense, but Nurkic is hedging the screens sometimes and going up to help them, and having two great wing defenders as big side and strong side defense. They can help. They are helping a lot, and they are looking great so far.
Yeah, I agree. Based on what I've seen from Blazers, bringing in athletic two-way defenders reminds me of another team in the league, actually. But the pick for today, Chris Paul under 13.5 points, -120 at FanDuel. Part of, I guess, the Blazers, their defensive resurgence. Is that kind of what you're thinking with this one?
Yeah, they are taking away mid range, and that's the only way Chris Paul is
Chris Paul
scoring.
scores.
Yeah, and Chris Paul over this line only 2 games so far this season, and it was the game against the Golden State Warriors where he scored 16 points and hit 4 out of the 5 threes. And he's combined for like 2 of 20 in the every other game. So that won't happen again. And the last game, so Minnesota, he scored 15 points. So going over the line by only 2 points, there was no Aiton, and Minnesota is playing deep drop with Gobert, so he had plenty of looks. And also, I think in this game, Phoenix with Aiton back, they are just way better team, and we could see them blowing them out. And if they have some 15 plus advantage early, I don't think Chris Paul will force anything. He will just look to get his 10 assists, and yeah.
Yeah, his 10 assists, 0 turnovers. He's
Yeah.
looking, from a point guard standpoint, he's looking really, really good this season. And it's part of the reason why the Suns are 6-1. They do look impressive after the turmoil of the offseason. But we do have one more pick for you guys today. We are going to the Chicago Bulls, who are visiting the Boston Celtics. Just pulling it up for you guys here. Same game parlay. Let's hear the pick for this one.
So for this one, I'm choosing the same game parlay. That's Jalen Brown to score 20 plus points, and Lavin scoring over 18.5 points, -1.5 at DraftKings. So coming into this game, I watched the last game they played. It was a very interesting game because Celtics were up 20 like 6 minutes into the game, and I was scared for a blowout because I had Brown. And then the reverse game happened, and Bulls ended up blowing out Boston Celtics. So it was a very interesting game. We had Brown scoring 21 points. Well, he was 8 of 23 from the floor. He missed some easy shots, wide open shots, and he still ended up scoring 21 while sitting out last 6 minutes of the game. And I think Bulls also focused way more on Jason Tatum, so I think Brown will have another great game. He covered this line in every game of the season besides the Orlando game, and that's the game where he shot like 3 from 16 on the floor and wasn't forcing anything because they were winning. And the other pick is Zach LaVine. I mean, this line is way too low for him. He covered this like in 80% of the games when he gets the minutes. And yeah, as we saw earlier this season, guards are like scoring with ease with Boston this season. They allowed fifth most points to guards, and they are allowed fifth least more points to the wings so far this season. So I think they will have pretty good coverage for DeMar DeRozan, and Lavin should go over easy this line. In the last game, he scored 19 points while he was 2 out of 10 on layups, and he still had 19 points, and it was a blowout. And yeah, coming after this big game versus Brooklyn Nets, I think he'll be down for scoring, and yeah, I could see both of them scoring 25 plus points in this game.
All right, we got 4 picks for you guys today. It's Friday night. Let's have some fun with this one. We go live on this show every single weekday, giving you out some NBA picks at 11:15 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at The Board NBA on Twitter, The Board NBA on YouTube, and twitch.tv/TheBoardNBA. You can find more of my stuff on Twitter at Jacob_Gramegna, as well as on YouTube for Raptors content at Amateur Sports. You can follow PipsNBA on Twitter for even more picks beyond this show, because it's hard to find the props this early in the morning. You know, it's hard to find everything you want. He finds great stuff during the day. If an injury happens, you got to react to that news, and he's done that. Recapping the picks, you can find all these bets. And right now, pick number 1, Nets at Wizards, Bradley Beal over 21.5 points, -125 at BetMGM. Pick number 2 is Luka Doncic against the Raptors, going over 8.5 assists, -130 at DraftKings. Pick number 3, Chris Paul under 13.5 points, -120 at FanDuel against the Blazers. And then finally, same game parlay, Bulls at Celtics, Jaylen Brown over 19.5 points, Zach LaVine over 18.5 points, -105 at DraftKings. That is the show. Have a great weekend, everybody. We will see you back on Monday for more from Pick and Roll, powered by The Hammer.